All right, guys, welcome to the Digital Barbell Podcast. Why are you laughing already? Just because that hitting it hard on the intro. Hope you guys are having a good day. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. This is our first episode back from Thanksgiving break. We had a great time with family. We hosted, and like Christmas is going to be here like immediately.
I know.
I'm already looking forward to it. We have a question and answer podcast today. We put the little box on Instagram. Here's some questions that came in. Before we get to those Q's and our A's, let's thank our sponsor for the day. We are sponsored by, you look like you're just like anticipating.
I'm always wondering what you're going to
nervous.
say.
Digitalbarbell.com. We are sponsored by our own website.
Sweet.
We have been hard at work doing a bit of a under construction website
A much
update.
needed.
It's been a while since we
update
gave
for
it a
the website.
refresher.
Yeah.
We're trying to stay true to everything that we preached about in our business podcast episodes. You got to have a website. We've had a website since we started
Day
this
one,
thing.
yeah.
Maybe you've been listening to our podcast. You've never even been to our website. Like, there's a lot of information on there. If you go to the blog
Yeah.
page, I mean,
Tons of blogs, years and years of blogs.
like literally.
Every podcast is on there.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some old stuff on there, but then also tons of freebies, tons of videos, like demo videos are all linked on there. So many resources.
Like, and you can actually search the blog page too. I mean, let's say you have a question about collagen protein or progressive overload or hip thrust. Just type that into the search box on the blog. Whatever. I mean, you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be like a 5,000 word blog telling you everything you
Yeah.
ever wondered about a topic on our website. And the reason we do it is because it's helpful to you. And also because, like we talked about in those business episodes, you'd be surprised how many people find us just by searching a topic,
Yeah.
finding our blog, reading about it, learning we're freaking experts on it, and then reaching out for coaching.
Websites and blogs are still there. They're still hanging around, even though podcasts and all the other types of media forms that we have today are slowly, taking over. They're still there and they're still relevant.
They ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere either.
Okay, so digitalbarbell.com. That should go without
Yeah.
saying. The other important announcement we have.
Exactly. On the very top of the website, you can click the little fluorescent yellow banner and that'll take you to the gift guide.
Well, we can talk about that too.
The gift guide is on there. Guys, if you listen to last week's podcast, the very top of the website, click the bright yellow banner, and that will take you to the list of all the gifts we talked about. I've recently added pictures of everything that we discussed, all of our favorite products, and then links to go get it wherever it's available.
And this isn't just fitness stuff. There's an
Yeah.
ice cream maker on there. There's packing cubes, my favorite socks at the moment. So if you're stumped for ideas for yourself or for other people, go check it out.
T-shirts.
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
Biscuit Sunday t-shirts are available right now. And when does the store close?
Sunday.
Sunday, the store closes. And guys, we've talked about this before. We have no control. We have no back order. We're ordering these through a company. So you have to place your orders when the store is opened. They won't be available. And again, they're Biscuit Sunday PR Monday shirts. They're super cute. We have 3 colors for men, or just 3 colors in the t-shirt, and then 3 colors in a crop as well. So 6 total t-shirts available on the website. You have to kind of scroll through the colors to see them on the website.
Yeah.
But go get them. They're super fun.
Yep. I will put a link to the direct website to order them in the show notes for this
And they will be
episode.
drop shipped directly to you.
Yeah, I think you'll have them. You'll definitely have them before Christmas. I mean, this
Yeah.
closes
Yeah,
like
they
the
go
first week of
quick.
December, and they hit the print, and they are
Yeah.
mailed right to you. So
I'm very excited about
yeah.
these.
Do you know which color or colors you're going to get for
I think
yourself?
I like the oatmeal color for the women's crop. And then I think I like the bright pink in the t-shirt. I think I'm going to get like 1 crop and 1 t-shirt.
Do you think I can rock the pink?
Yeah, I think you should rock the pink. I like that pink.
Blakely this week or just yesterday gave me an early Christmas present. She's like, I don't know if you're going to like this, so I'm going to give it to you now, so you have time to return it if you
Yeah.
don't like it. And it's a lavender long sleeve mauve longish 3/4 sleeve,
like a Henley, yeah.
silk Henley
It's
made by
not
Gymshark.
silk.
It's like a
He's
rayon.
Totally wrong on all
And
of this.
and if I looked at it on the website, I would be like, that's probably not my style. I put it on, I liked it. I wore it to get my hand x-rayed yesterday, and I loved it. So
Got tons of compliments
I'm keeping
on
it. But I do want to let you know that doesn't let you off the hook for giving me a Christmas present since you already gave it to me. That's one more you need to add to the list. Okay, I think that's all the
right.
announcements. We're ready to get into
Yeah.
these Q's and A's.
All right, we got some great questions, guys. Thank you very much. First one, what are your thoughts on pre-workout? What should I look for?
I've gone through periods of using pre-workout and not using pre-workout.
Same.
It kind of falls under the category of supplements. I mean, pre-workout is just a supplement. So what is the point of pre-workout? It's to make you feel mentally and physically ready to work out and potentially increase your performance of that workout, so that as you do more and more and more workouts, maybe they're a little bit more productive and you make more progress in the end because of it. So what are the things to look for in a pre-workout? Number one of the only supplements that actually does anything, caffeine. So if you're somebody who's super sensitive to caffeine, they do make non-stimulant pre-workouts, but I kind of feel like that defeats the purpose unless you're just going for the placebo effect of it. Hey, you know what? We have a blog about what to look for in a pre-workout now that I mention it. But, a pre-workout is probably going to have somewhere between 100 and 300 milligrams of caffeine in it as the effective dose. That's somewhere between 1 and 2 cups of coffee worth of caffeine. So if you're somebody who feels super weird if you have that much coffee at once, you might want to titrate your way into how much pre-workout you take. But if you're somebody who can drink a Bang energy drink and feel like $1,000,000, then you can probably take whatever pre-workout you want, because that's closer to the 300 milligrams of caffeine per serving dosage. So caffeine, number one. Number two, look for if it has creatine monohydrate in it. I would say that in general, trying to get your creatine from a pre-workout is kind of a waste, because it's probably not going to have the effective dose that you need per day, which is 5 milligrams. A lot of pre-workouts and even some energy drinks will say creatine on them, and they won't tell you how much is in it, because it'll say proprietary blend, which is just a way of them to hide what's actually in it. Or it might be 1 to 2 grams of creatine in the pre-workout, which is not enough to do what we take creatine for. So if it has 5 grams of creatine, boom, you might save yourself some hassle or make yourself more consistent with taking your creatine if it's in your pre-workout. Now, the last thing which might have a performance enhancing effect is beta alanine, mainly on the aerobic side of things, meaning it's not going to help you lift more weight, but it might help you go longer in your workout. Side effect of beta alanine is that tingly feeling, and you want to scratch your head and you feel like spiders are crawling in your armpits and arms and stuff like that. So if that bothers you, then steer clear of a pre-workout with beta alanine in it. Some people love that. I actually like it. And now it's actually in some energy drinks too, which is kind of cool.
That is crazy.
But anyway, those are the 3 main things.
You're driving to work and you're like, what is wrong with me?
I don't think that the cans I know that the energy drink made by C4, it might just be called C4, but I use
You just buy it at the grocery store and you might pick it up.
Oh yeah, you're like, I want this energy drink, and you're like, holy smokes, my heart's about to explode.
That time we found some in your mom's fridge, we're like, do not drink these. What are you doing?
Right. So those are the 3 main ingredients: creatine, caffeine, and beta alanine. Lesser so on the beta alanine, but that's my advice on that.
What I like about pre-workouts is that it's something, it's like a cue for your body. It doesn't even matter what, to me, it matters what's in it, but it doesn't matter what it is. It's almost like I drink this before I work out. And so when you start drinking that,
Starts
you're
the ritual.
In about 20, 30 minutes, I'm going to be going into the gym. So I think that's why I like a drink before you work out, or something before you work out, because it starts the process.
In your mind, mentally. You start hearing the do 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 do.
So in the past, I used to really like Ascent pre-workouts.
How do you spell that?
ASCENT.
There you go.
It comes in a bright yellow bag. I know you can get it at even Whole Foods and some grocery stores now. But I'm all about getting stuff with clean ingredients
and transparency on the label of what's actually in it too.
Great flavors. And what I like about the ones that come in a bag is you can control the amount. So if the one scoop is 140 milligrams of caffeine and you're not really ready for that, you can go with a half scoop in the beginning. And then see what you need, see what you can handle. Yeah. The other part of the thing to consider is what time of day do you work out. If you're working out in the 5 or 6 o'clock hour,
PM or
you're
AM.
not gonna PM. You're not gonna want a caffeinated pre-workout, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, and actually lately, what I've been doing, because I don't have a bag of pre-workout anymore, is I've been buying those little bottles of, I think it's called Mio, at the grocery store. And it's a concentrated liquid that has caffeine in it and a flavoring. and I just put my shaker bottle on the food scale and I weigh out a portion. And if I don't want as much caffeine as is in a serving, I can just put less in there. But, you know, a pre-workout's probably going to cost anywhere between $1.50 and $3 per serving when you're buying those little canisters that have like 30 servings in them. But I'm pretty sure I can get a serving of caffeine, which is the main thing I'm in a pre-workout for like 5 or 10 cents by just using that concentrated liquid. Yeah, so there's a money-saving hack for you.
I think back when I owned the gym, I just needed more caffeine in my life. I was getting up super early to coach. I was going to work at Rice. I was, you know, doing all these things between. So I took the Ascent back then. These days, because we're going to work out after we record this, I use Arbonne Fizzy Sticks. Yeah, which so they have like 40 milligrams of caffeine, and it's just a little. It's a
child's play.
It's child's play on the caffeine side, but it is literally just like, to me, it's like the mental. Like I know when I drink this, I'm gonna be working out. Right, it's
go time.
Yeah.
While we're talking about what to look for in supplements, why don't we just give a refresher on what to look for in a protein powder too? I'll try to keep this simple, but you know what? We also have a blog about this. You can just go to our website. Okay, so most protein powders, you want to look for between 20 and 25 grams of total protein in the serving. You want to scan the label, make sure it doesn't have a lot of calories coming from carbohydrates and fat. We're not taking a protein supplement to get carbohydrates and fat. So if you're using a cheap protein powder, it might have a lot of fat because it hasn't been processed as much to get all the, you know, concentrates of the milk protein out. So, you know, a couple grams of carbohydrates is acceptable. A couple grams of fat is acceptable, or even no fat would be preferable. Next thing you want to look for on the label is, does it disclose the amount of branched chain amino acids in it? These are the 3 amino acids that are most responsible for muscle growth. A cheap protein powder will skimp on these, and especially a lot of veggie-based protein powders will skimp on these. We're looking for about 5.5 or 6 grams of the BCAAs combined. It should disclose that on the label. If not, check the website, see if it has it on there. If you're looking at a veggie protein and you really can't find any of that information, look for a veggie protein that's either made from pea, soy, or rice, or a combination of all 3 of those. And that should cover all your bases as far as amino acid content. That's simple enough.
Yep.
All right. What's next?
I tend to get 70 grams or half of my daily protein goal in breakfast. Would it be optimal for protein absorption if I spread it out throughout the day more evenly?
So I guess that this person's saying that their protein goal is 140 grams per day, and they're getting half of it at breakfast. I guess I'd like to follow up and ask them, like, how are you getting the other 70 grams? Is it in one giant dose at the end of the day, or are you spreading that 70 out over the course of the day? That doesn't include breakfast. I think they said, would it be more optimal? Yeah, I mean, if we look at what is the reason that we eat protein in the first place, it's to take advantage of the muscle building and repairing properties that that protein has when we eat it. When we eat a certain threshold of protein, it flips a switch in our body that turns us into this anabolic or building phase. And that lasts for a certain amount of time before it wears off. It depends on what you eat with that protein to how long it's going to last, but it's somewhere in the 4-ish hour range. So if we're talking about what's optimal, it would be great if our goal is to get stronger, build more muscle, to spend a lot of time during the day in that building phase. So if we're only stimulating muscle growth, repair by having 70 grams of protein, or like a huge portion of your protein earlier in the day, you're kind of missing out on the opportunity to stimulate that process multiple times later in the day. So if we're talking about what's optimal, it would be great if we could spread our protein out across the course of the day in chunks big enough to stimulate muscle growth, which is somewhere in the 25 to 35 grams of protein per meal range. So the most important thing is just getting enough protein per day. So if you're struggling to even get anywhere close to what's optimal for just total protein, which is somewhere in the 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per day per pound that you weigh, focus on that first, but then we can move to optimal after that and trying to dose our protein across the course of the day to spend more time stimulating muscle protein synthesis.
All right. Number 3. What do you think about Instagram fitness challenges? I guess.
Bernie sent this one in because he saw somebody do a challenge with how many air squats can you do to a target in 30 seconds or something like that.
Okay.
And I think he likes to do these kinds of challenges that he sees online, and just kind of wanted to get our opinion about these kinds of challenges. I mean, in general, I think they're great. I mean, I think they do a lot more good than the potential to do any harm. I mean, they don't have any kind of like training effect, or they're not like making you better at anything. But if they keep you motivated to try something new or to challenge yourself to, especially like push into some mental thing that you've never been able to overcome before, I think they're awesome.
We just need to be careful with what it is you're doing. Like, for example, the box step up thing. Like we talk a lot about like what's good for training and what's just like kind of pushing you over the edge of like unnecessary, just for, you know, exercise sake or whatever.
When you say the box step up thing, what do you mean?
The box step up, I mean, I consider that a challenge, the 1,000 step ups.
Oh, the workout challenge.
Yeah. So that was, you know, a challenge that we took on. And I mean, it took me out of the game for like 6 full days.
Yeah.
Like I could only do upper body. And so I don't really think things like that it was fun to do, and I'm glad I did, and I pushed myself when I was doing it. But then the after effects of it, I wasn't expecting. I think it's because I was racing you that I got way more sore this year than I ever have. And, you know, it pretty much messed up a full week of training for me.
Yeah.
So I think that all that to say is just, there's so many things on the internet that you really have to kind of think about what you're doing when you take on a challenge.
Good point.
Like this. So if it's like, can you do 1,000 push-ups in a day? You know, I mean, you could hurt yourself on certain things.
Yeah.
So
you have to have some critical thinking.
Yeah, you just think, like, because you don't know if you don't know the person that's submitting it, and you don't know if you can trust like what they're giving you, then I would, you know, kind of be weary a little bit of just like taking on any kind of challenge.
That's a good point. Is it something extreme, or is it just something that is a challenge to see where you fall? Like doing 30 seconds of air squats is different than like how many air squats can you do in a day. Like,
right.
Yeah. That's a good distinction to make.
Yeah. And like, you know, the challenges we've put out for our members, and we are going to start them again in 2024, is just like, you know, things that are already like, that are going to like just motivate you to do a little bit more than you're doing. Like the step challenge is a great one. Like, you know, how many steps are you getting regularly? Okay, let's up that. Yeah. And let's go for that through the course of a month. I like stuff like that.
I remember when we lived in Boise, there was this Instagram challenge that went around where you put a shirt on the shirt on the ground in front of you. You do
Jake Gyllenhaal challenge.
You do a handstand, and you have to put the shirt on while being in a handstand.
I don't remember what it had to do with Jake Gyllenhaal. Maybe he took the challenge on, but I remember making the video and successfully doing it, and that's on our YouTube channel too. And then being like, take that, like in the video. But yeah, I was able to get the shirt on in a handstand. That was a fun challenge.
But like looking back on it now, objectively, like you basically had to do a one-armed handstand against the wall, which was probably pretty dangerous in the grand scheme of things.
So I would say I'm against just random Instagram challenges for challenge sake. I think you need to know and trust the person that it doesn't have to be on Instagram, but that the challenge is coming from.
Good point.
Okay. All right. I've noticed that Jonathan drops his deadlifts between reps. Why do that instead of lower them slowly?
I'm just in a hurry, man.
Please explain yourself, sir.
I mean, I picked this up from starting strength, honestly, and I've stuck with it because I like it. But, you know, I train deadlifts to train the concentric strength of the deadlift, the part of the lift where you're picking the weight up off the ground to standing up. That's the part that I want to get stronger on, because that's what's activating the most muscle mass and causing the most strength adaptation, is the lifting of the weight. So I want to save as much energy as possible to be able to do that as well as I can between reps. So I don't drop the weight and let go of it. You know, I control the weight down quickly, and I keep my hands. I'm usually using straps on my heavy sets, but the point is I'm not lowering the bar down slowly because, number one, I don't want to cause extra fatigue that's going to keep me from putting in a maximum effort on the next concentric rep. And I also don't want to expose my low back and the rest of my body to a slow eccentric part on the way down. Like, I don't want to get sore doing deadlifts because I went down slowly, and I don't want to be able to not lift the next rep because I went down slowly. Also, why are you laughing?
I'm excited for this debate. I'm ready. Keep going.
So I think there's a time and place for eccentric training, and that's the reason that we include RDLs, Romanian deadlifts, in our own training and all of our clients' training too, because there is benefit from doing the eccentric part of a lift, but not necessarily on a lift that you're trying to get stronger on in the concentric part. Like if you were going to do back squats, like you're not going to descend as slowly as possible and then expect to be able to ascend out of the squat, the part where you're, using your strength. And you're not going to do that very well if you went down as slow as possible. That doesn't mean you can never do tempo squats.
But we're not going to like get down to the bottom, have someone put a bar on our back and then just stand up with it. We're not only able to do one-sided squats. So why are we only allowing ourselves to do one-sided deadlift? Same thing in the press. You're not going to stand there like this, be like, someone give me a bar. or like press it up. Someone take the bar. I'm pressed.
Okay, I understand your point.
A bench press. Someone take it.
Yeah.
The next rep.
Okay,
someone take it.
Yeah, a valid point. Not very practical, but a valid point there.
You're only doing it in the deadlift because you can physically drop it and then re-pick it back up.
Yeah,
that was not my argument.
Fair enough point on that too. I would say that, learning how to deadlift through CrossFit back in 2009, they teach more of the touch and go style of deadlift where you control the weight on the way down, but you do it quickly and you kind of catch a little bit of a bounce out of the bottom also because, mostly in CrossFit, you're doing higher volume, a little bit lighter weight, and you're trying to do this for time to get the cardio benefit of it too. So that's kind of where I learned to deadlift and learned the different way through strength training when you're specifically trying to build strength. Now, that doesn't mean like I don't bust out, 21, 15, 9 deadlifts and burpees, and you do touch and go, eccentric and concentric deadlifts. I just think there's a time and the place. And if I'm trying to build strength, then I'm going to do the concentric part of the lift, not waste any energy or risk hurting my low back on the eccentric.
So I want to say a couple things about this. So number one, Jonathan is an advanced trainee. So I think that that's one thing to mention when you're first learning, like if someone is just now starting with us and your coach is having you like guide the barbell down to the ground. That's because Jonathan's been doing this for a long time, and we're not gonna start you off dropping the barbell like a 50-pound barbell and like dropping it.
Yeah, that's a great point. The load matters a lot.
The load matters a lot on this. I do, because I just remember coaching a client that had seen you do this, and he was like, "Well, Jonathan drops it," and I was like, "Yes, but okay." Yeah. And like we were saying before, there's a time and a place for both things. Like I come from more of a CrossFit background where we do train a different setup in the deadlift and a different method of deadlift because you're training for doing multiple reps in a row in a workout, not just for strength. Also, that being said, I had another great point.
you had a real zinger.
I had a real zinger.
Well, I'm so sorry you forgot it.
I think what I was talking about with the rest of the lifts makes a lot of sense. Like on the deadlift is the only place where you can drop it from the top. So you can't just like get out of a squat, a press, or a bench and only do half of that rep. So I think it is important to train most of the time to train the full lift, bringing the bar up and bringing the bar down. I think in my gym, I had a thing like where you couldn't drop. For most of the time, you couldn't drop the bar from the top. Remember?
Yeah, but not during that was if you're like doing a workout with multiple reps, not like you're doing your deadlifts for your strength portion.
Yeah. I think there's a time and a place for both, but I think like as people who are beginning in, for a lot of their training, they should be able to bring the bar up and bring the bar down.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Yeah.
But if okay, we're just going to keep saying the same things over and over again. If you're in any question of what you should do, send us a message, send us a video of your deadlifts, and we'll just tell you what we think.
Right.
How about that?
He also mentioned the lifting straps that he uses, and that there is a time and a place for using lifting straps, but it's all about like, you don't want to just train yourself like, I'm starting fresh on deadlifts and I'm going to start using lifting straps because I saw Jonathan using them on Instagram, because you're not training your grip, as you build in strength.
Right.
So, yeah.
Time and a place.
Time and a place for all of these things.
This is why it's good to have a coach too.
It is. All right.
Next.
Stop putting you on Instagram.
Yeah. No problem.
I need new workout clothes for Christmas. What are your current favorites?
Oh, I got this one covered.
Oh, yeah?
Because I've been wearing the same workout clothes for like 5 years.
It's so funny over the years. I feel like my brand of workout clothes has changed a lot. And this year, I'm 100% Gymshark. Like I
You're
really
gonna say Old Navy.
Old Navy. I like Gymshark clothes.
That's interesting.
They have really cool styles. They are on the more affordable side of the spectrum of gym clothes out there.
Do you mean cheap? They're cheap.
And I like the way they fit. Like there are certain like styles that they have that I really like the way they fit. I personally like the ones they have different if you're on the website they have different like
categories.
Yeah, categories of their styles, and I like the legacy one.
Mm-hmm. But they're more like trendy, aren't they? Like their styles keep up with the trend more. I think some of their stuff is really ridiculous actually. Like
they have a lot
over the top.
It kind of they used to not have as much. It used to be like more like American Apparel to me, like where it's like the basics, like here's just, and that's what I like is like a basic solid color.
Yeah.
And now they've kind of exploded with everything, but I like the legacy brand. It's like the lifting club brand of their style. I don't know what they're called.
Still a lot of your workout clothes are born primitive though, right?
That's from years past, but I really like. I haven't
bought
even
anything recently.
I haven't got anything born primitive in a long time. Like I kind of like the Gymshark stuff.
But the stuff that you bought has lasted pretty well of the born primitive, right? Mm-hmm. And then of course Noble
I kind of got out of because they didn't keep up with the trends as much to me as far as like the pant styles. Like they stuck with like we're gonna go low waisted shorts with like the shorty short, and like it took them forever to kind of expand and be like, okay, people want a high-waisted short, people want a little longer legs short, like
they have all that now.
Limited, I think. I mean, I honestly haven't looked in a long time, but yeah.
I feel like the Noble women's clothing is like you're gonna like expose yourself more in their
the shorts. Like if you even look at the CrossFitters, they're constantly messing with their shorts, and I think that's what I like about these Gymshark shorts and pants that I have, and as opposed to even like the born primitive, all the other things, is like I find myself never messing with my pants, and I think that's a big thing for women. And you having to wear these like the kind of pants we do is like having to fiddle with them in between like a burpee, and you eat like they stay in place. Yeah,
mine is. I mean, I've been wearing the same 4 or 5 pairs of Noble training shorts for the last several years.
Those have held up great for you. And the Noble men's joggers, those are great.
That's actually what I'm wearing right now. I have a gray pair of these and a green pair, and like I mean the quality is great.
Yeah, those have lasted you like 6. You had them in Idaho like 6 years or so.
Yeah, so that's basically all I really work out in is the Noble shorts. My preference is kind of the thicker ones that I think they're like a 7-inch inseam or something. I have some that have the elastic waist and camouflage. I don't like those as much. I always gravitate towards the same like 3 pair and just rotate through them, which works out well because we're always doing laundry.
You don't have to worry about the tops because we got you covered with the digital barbell sweats, digital barbell biscuit Sunday tees, all those things.
The only thing I know on tops is I'm not allowed to wear tank tops.
It's a horrible look.
I have 2 of them.
Horrible look. All right, last one. I have been doing 3x5 overhead presses, adding 5 pounds every week. Very good job. But now I'm stuck. What should I do? This is timely. We were just talking about this. Did this question just come in?
Yeah, no, that came in yesterday.
We were just talking about this with Haley on our call this week because we're currently doing a linear progression with our custom clients where we're taking them 3 sets of 5 reps, adding 5 pounds each time they're successful.
I thought I knew what I was going to say, but now I'm going to say maybe you should just drop the bar every rep.
Press it up, have someone get on a ladder and come take it off of your hands, put it back in the rack and restart.
Oh, man. I would say this is the most common thing that people get stuck on with strength training is the overhead press, which makes sense because it's the smallest muscle groups and it gets hard real quick.
So there's 2 things you can do here. Most people,
I'd say there's more than 2, but
2 main things. Most people, the smallest increment of weight that you have is a 2.5 pound plate. So one thing is to get you a set of fractionals. So where you can put like a 1/4 pound on each side of the weight. If you want to like, he's going to grab some. Are they in here? Ours are super rusty. Yeah. How much is that one?
This weighs 1 pound. So you can go up in 2 pound increments, but we have them all the way down to 1/8 of a pound.
Yeah, which is kind of ridiculous. So it's pretty affordable to get a set of fractionals. You probably just need the ones that have like a half pound, a pound, and like 1.5
Even
pounds.
just a pair of pound ones would be fine.
And you can not have to jump up 5 pounds on an upper body movement to jump is big. It's like way different than like putting 5 pounds on the bar and trying to squat or deadlift it. So
it is funny how we get stuck on just because somebody decided to make plates in 2.5 pound increments. We're like 5 pounds. That's where I should be able to do 5 more pounds.
And it's significant. I mean, it's significant when you're working the smaller muscles of your upper body. Another thing you can do is if you only have 2.5s, is you can switch it and do 5 sets of 3 reps. So you're going to take, it's going to take you a little bit longer because you're going to do 5 sets, but you're only going to have to do 3 reps. And then if you get through that, then you do 4 sets of 4 reps. And if you get to that, then retry the 3x5. And by the time you've gotten back to the 3x5, you're probably unstuck.
Yeah. Basically, like just keeping the volume the same, but changing up the rep scheme to get the work in.
So to clarify, you would try to go up in weight. If you only have 2.5, you would try to go up in weight and see if you could do 3 reps instead of 5 reps. So in that case, you do 5 sets of 3 reps.
Yeah. And then probably eventually you could get back to doing sets of 5 too.
Yeah. My third, I forgot my third method for press exclusively is to, if you're doing a 3x5, is to get as many, is to get as many reps as you can. Say I'm like 1, 2, 3, and then I can't do 4 and 5. So I'm going to do a push press for 4, a push press for 5, but I'm going to make sure to note that for myself and my coach that I did 5 reps, 2 of them were push presses. So you're still getting, up to the volume that we want, and you're still like working your muscles. You're just having a little bit of lower body help. And then hopefully over the next like week or 2, you're going to be able to reduce the number of push presses you have to do each set.
I like that.
So I think that one, I would probably, if you don't have the fractionals, I would probably go to the push press method first, just because if you have a limited time to work out, doing 5 sets really does take a long time. And if you still remain stuck for a long time, then you could try to flip it.
And then we can just kind of zoom out and be like, all right, well, how do you break through any strength plateau? You can try to recover more sleep, more food, that kind of stuff. But then you can also increase the amount of stress that you're putting on your body. That's going to cause your body to adapt to that stress and make you stronger. And another way to do that is to add in more volume that's similar later in the week. Basically, putting more volume into your program in a similar movement pattern that's going to cause you to get stronger.
Some marble presses, some push presses.
Right. So like depending, if you're only pressing once per week and like you're not really doing any other kind of overhead or incline pressing later in the week, throw in a few more hard sets later in the week, and you don't be surprised if you break through that strength plateau on the other lift.
Don't let yourself get frustrated, especially like I said, on overhead presses, on bench presses. If you feel like you're doing a linear progression and you get stuck here, it's very common. And I mean, you can get stuck in an overhead press 3x5 for like a month, which sounds ridiculous, but that's why we have all these little methods to help you. Like, okay, I'm getting through it. I'm going to do some push presses, but specifically an overhead press, you can get stuck for quite a while.
Yeah, it's the toughest one.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to add today?
I think that's it. Don't forget your Biscuit Sunday t-shirts.
Yeah, head to the description of this episode, the show notes, whatever the cool kids are calling it. Click on the link, get them ordered, because like Blakely said at the beginning, this is not like a come back and get it later situation. Once they're gone, they're gone. As soon as we wrap up this episode, we got to get on and order ours before we forget. All right, we'll catch you guys next week.